good, guys? It's Dom or DNAC, and today I'm finally gonna be making a tutorial for you guys. You guys already saw what the tutorial's on, but basically it's just gonna be on this sort of like ghost trail effect. One thing I do want to say before we get into the tutorial is I'm gonna show you guys the most basic plain way to do this effect. I'm doing that because I want to leave room for your guys' creativity and for you guys to experiment. So whether that be tweaking the settings that I show you guys or adding on any effects that you guys might have or you think would make this look better, I want to leave that creative space for you guys to make this look unique rather than have you guys just copy exactly what I do in this tutorial right here. But yeah, with that being said, let's jump into this. And one more thing, if you guys wouldn't mind dropping a like on this video and maybe consider subscribing, it would be greatly appreciated. And for further tutorials, if you guys want to drop a comment down below and let me know what you would want to see a tutorial on next, I'll definitely look through those and see if there's anything I can show you guys how to do. Also though, I will most likely ask on my Instagram story first, so if you guys want to follow me there, I'm going to link that down in the description as well as the rest of my socials. So with that being said, let's just jump straight into this tutorial here. So you're going to want to start off with your clip here, obviously. This is just a clip from the Slump and Wes Jabberwockies video, but basically you're going to want to separate your subject from the background here. So you can do that by duplicating this layer, hit Control D, and then you're going to want to double click this top layer and then come up here and grab your roto brush tool, and then what you're going to do is roto brush your subject out here. If you guys don't know how to roto brush, I'll link a couple tutorials on how to roto brush down below if you guys want to check those out first. I am assuming that most people watching this probably know how, but if not, I will have those linked down below. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just roto this out. One thing I will say, the roto brush does not have to be like perfect for this effect, because I will show you guys a way to kind of clean it up after with some of these settings here and as well as different effects. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and roto brush through this. So once you guys have your roto brush all masked out completely, let's actually rename this to roto, and we'll rename this to BG for background, just so we don't get confused here later on. So again, for this effect, the roto brush doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, and for the sake of this tutorial, we're just gonna have to rock with what we got here. But I will show you guys some things you can do to kind of clean it up. Just mess around with the feather settings here. I usually like to bring this down a bit, just so if you have any of the background kind of bleeding over still, like here, if you see when I bring it down, it cuts away at it, and if you bring it up, it brings more of the background in. So I like to bring that down a bit, and then just turn up the feather. I personally don't ever really mess with the contrast, but you can definitely play around with it until you get a roto brush that you are satisfied with. Again, for the sake of this tutorial, we're just gonna kind of go with these generic settings here. So you can go ahead and render out your preview so you can see what your roto looks like. But something you can do to clean it up even further is use Refine Soft Matte. You could use either one of these, but I personally don't really ever use Refine Hard Matte. I usually only use Refine Soft Matte, but basically it just lets you further adjust your mask so you can clean it up even more. Here, you can turn up the smoothness, mess around with the shift edge even more. I would recommend you guys maybe start with the settings that I have here and then still kind of tweak them around till you get a look that you like. Another tip I can give you guys to clean up your rotos is to literally put RSMB on your roto layer. If you guys don't know what RSMB is, it's just a motion blur plugin. If you guys don't have it, I would definitely look into getting that. This was actually shown to me by my boy Disviz. Basically, it's just putting motion blur on your top layer, so even if you have those points where the background's kind of bleeding in, the motion blur kind of cleans it up and covers it. The only thing I would say is if you use this is to be mindful of how blurry it actually makes your subject. like once you play the clip, because depending on the footage, it can make your subject just way too blurry compared to the background and kind of throw off the whole look of your clip or your video. So I would just keep that in mind. I would definitely mess around with these settings. Sometimes just changing these can be enough. Definitely using Refine Soft Matte is a good one, but then even if you have RSMB and you've never tried it on a roto, maybe throw it on there and just see what works for you guys. So next, what you're going to want to do is actually duplicate this roto layer. So now you have 3 layers. You'll have roto on top, a roto underneath it, and then your background. So we'll actually rename this to top roto, and then you have your roto underneath it, which we will rename to echo, because this is what we're actually going to be doing the effect on, is this middle layer here. You're going to want to delete RSMB off for now, and for the sake of actually being able to see the effect being built, I'm going to turn off the visibility for the top roto layer in the background, just so we have the layer that we're actually going to be doing the effect on. Then the first effect we are going to go with is called echo. Right here, you're going to want to drop that down on your middle clip. So what you're going to want to do is start at the beginning of your clip, the very first frame, just drag all the way to the left, open up this second layer here where we have our echo, and then open up the echo settings, and right here where it says echo time in seconds, you're going to want to type in 0.050. So right here you'll have -0.05, and then on the decay you're going to make this 0.8. Echo operator, you're going to want to do composite in back, and then where it says number of echoes is actually where the effect comes from. So I usually keyframe the number of echoes from 0 up into like 15 usually. Click this little stopwatch here at the beginning of your clip, drag out into your clip about like 15, maybe 20 frames, and then just up the echoes to like 15. For the tutorial we'll do 15. Again, just recommend you guys to change these settings. It doesn't necessarily have to be 15 exactly. It could be 20, it could be 30. So if you guys want to see what that looks like, go ahead and render out your preview, and that way you can see exactly what the effect looks like. If we turn visibility for our top roto here, and then turn on the visibility for the background, if we play that preview again, you guys can see what the effect is actually doing. If you like how it looks already with the steps, how it kind of looks like delayed and whatnot, I mean, that's cool, but I usually like to add a blur to that. So we're going to take this called gaussian, however you might pronounce that, drop it onto your echo, check this box, repeat edge pixels, and then turn up the blurriness to whatever kind of setting looks good to you. So as you guys can see, the blur just kind of blends the echoes together a little better in my opinion. If you click this effects button, you can see like what the effect is actually doing. So more or less just kind of cleans up the harsh edges of each echo. Another thing you guys can do to take this effect even further is add a glow, and you can use the built-in After Effects glow down here under Stylize. You can use this, but I personally only ever use S-Glow. So I'm going to drop that on my echo clip here. So for right now, I usually just by default, I turn down the glow width. Usually turn it down to something like 40 to 50, something like that. And then if you turn down the threshold, it'll make the glow brighter, as you guys can see. I turn it up, makes it darker, turn it down, makes it brighter. But what we are going to do here is open up our echo layer and open up our glow settings here. We're going to make sure we're on the first frame of our clip, so just drag all the way to the left. And on your brightness setting, we're going to change that to 0. Click the stopwatch here, and then we're going to drag it out maybe 15-20 frames again, same thing that we did with the actual echo, and then up that back to 2. That way glow kind of builds up a little bit and comes in a little more smooth. And that's more or less how I got the look from the clip in the beginning of the video. Again, I highly recommend that you guys tweak these settings, add on different effects, and just kind of experiment with this, just so you guys can get your own unique look that works into your guys' editing style. But yeah, that's really going to be it for this tutorial. If you guys do have any questions or if it's not working for you, definitely drop it down in the comments and I'll try and help you out. As well as any tutorials that you guys would want to see in the future, or you can DM them to me on Instagram and I'll take all of the suggestions into consideration. But yeah, that's really going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.